All right, so we've got adults and teens. Let's pull out our books if you're here for adults and teens practice. All right, so here we go. Now for adults and teens, you guys had kind of a tricky week this week. Last week was actually kind of hard too, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so for this week, we learned a new hand-in exercise, right? So in order for us to really do a good job of warming up our fingers, hand-in is one of those easy ways to do it in a quick amount of time, okay? So make sure that you learn hand-in number 6 on page 87 as best as you can. Let's go over the fingers on that one and the notes in piano view so you can follow along, okay? All right, let's do it. Page 87, we're going to do hand-in number 6. Okie dokie, so I'm starting here. It has written middle C and bass clef C, but it also says move your hand an octave lower. So these will be the C's that I'm going to begin. Now, in order for us to really include that interval of a sixth, we're going to have to stretch our pinky up, where we skip a note between fingers 1 and 2 in the right hand, and stretch our thumb up, and we're going to skip a note between the pinky and finger 4, okay? We're going to play the very first interval as a sixth, and then it goes down to a second, then a third, then a fourth, then a fifth. All right, so let's see how this goes. Listen carefully. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. Do yours feel really warmed up? Yeah, I told you, hand-in is one of those things that really, really works your fingers and hands. If you are lacking in muscle mass in those fingers and strength, hand-in is one of the easiest ways to gain that muscle, right? By starting the tempo nice and slow and really working, trying to hit each key at the same pressure. It's really going to work those weaker fingers. You're looking at your pinky, finger 5. You're looking at your ring finger, finger 4. Especially in the left hand and definitely also in the right hand too, okay? It does something. There's some sort of magic about hand-in. That's why I like you to do it, okay? Now, turning the page to 88, we had 2 songs this week, okay? These 2 songs were only 2 lines each. They did have repeats, and they had some really interesting things happening in the repeats by moving up an octave, okay? Now we're testing those skills about sixths, okay? We have sixth in the left hand in our V7, our D7 chord. We also have that sixth in the right hand melodically from that A going down to a C, okay? So this is a C position song. London Bridge. I'm sure you know this song pretty well, right? It also has those dotted quarter notes at the beginning. Remember, I've talked about this for the last 2 lessons. 1.5 beats is what a dotted quarter note gets, right? It's the rhythm you hear in the London part of London Bridge. London Bridge is falling down, right? London Bridge is falling down. Pretty good, right? Not so bad. Okay, so let's get into position and play through it. Here we go. C position, I've got my triad C major here in the left hand, 5, 3, 1. And then I notice that I'm going to be stretching up my finger 4 onto the G. Typically I'll have it on an F, but in this case I'm going to put it on a G because it notates that at the beginning of the song. All right? I'm going to be saying my note names in my right hand, okay, for the first time through. And then the second time through, my right hand plays up an octave higher, and I will also say the note names again. So listen carefully while we do this together. Play along if you'd like. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Way up here. G, A, G, F, E, F, G, D, E, F, E, F, G, G, A, G, F, E, F, G, D, G, E, C. Very nice. All right, we really did a lot of good work on that. Now, you noticed probably at the beginning I didn't actually remember to sing. So those first couple notes were like totally alone, but that's okay. I tried my best to keep up. So yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily a tricky song. I wouldn't consider this a hard song. I would say it does have some interesting elements to remember, right? So looking at the left hand, we have our chords that we know extremely well by this point, right? C major chord, G7 chord, and then the C major chord again. But the interesting thing that you need to remember is that we've got tied notes too, right? So instead of having the first chord for 4 beats, it's tied. So we're gonna have it for 8 beats total, okay? Keeping that in mind as we're going through this, okay? The dotted quarter note is the only tricky rhythm that I see in here, so it's not necessarily anything that you need to worry about too much, okay? Now, with that being said, we could probably play the tempo a little bit quicker. So what do you say? Let's play it a little bit faster, okay? Here we go. All right, getting into position. We've got our C major chord, finger 4 on our G. I am not going to be saying any note names this time, and I'm not going to be saying any finger numbers. I'm going to be focusing primarily on tempo, so a little bit quicker. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. Repeat. So what are you thinking about it? You think it's pretty good, right? Yeah. I think just a few more days of practice and you can have this like really, really good. Okay? Now, the second song that we had for this week was Michael Row the Boat Ashore. Okay? It sort of was like this call and answer type song because the right hand would sing a melody and then the left hand would answer it and then they'd end at the end sort of together. Okay? It is full of slurs, okay? So make extra sure that you've got every single note correct, all right? We do have that dotted quarter note sprinkled in there as well. So be aware of that. Now, in terms of the left hand, that's where you get that little bit of introduction of our harmonic intervals. We've got a harmonic fourth and then a harmonic third, all right? That only happens in two spots. In measures 4 and measure 5. Okay? Now, it does have a repeat and it says, let's see here. Yeah, okay, well, I thought it actually said go an octave higher, but I lied. It actually says just play it or repeat, regular old repeat. Okay? Let's give this a chance to get it right. Okay? Let's do it. All right, so we're in that C position again. We've got our right hand thumb on middle C. Our left hand thumb will be on the G below middle C. Now it says moderately slow, so it's not going to be anywhere near as quick as London Bridge. So that way it gives us a chance to play those notes correctly. Our finger 2 is actually going to be on your E, so we're essentially skipping that D. All right? Fan out your fingers, and then we'll go ahead and play. It's going to have a funky count off because it's an incomplete measure, so just be aware of that. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, ready, go. Now, if you notice, I didn't do any note names, I didn't do any finger numbers. A lot of these songs that we're going to be approaching now, I'm not necessarily going to be saying those. I might drop in an occasional note or an occasional finger number because I need you to start relying on how it is written in your staff. This is sort of like a teacher's way to rip the Band-Aid off. When it comes to reading the music for real, right? I could say note names and finger numbers until the cows come home, but my goal isn't necessarily to do that for you all the time. The songs are going to get longer and they're going to get harder, and I'm not necessarily going to be there to say that all the time. I'll show you how to play them, but you're going to have to start relying on reading on the staff yourself, okay? All right. Yeah, that's kind of like mean teacher me, but that's okay. You got to learn it at some point, right? And if you're already starting to do that, then you're way ahead of the curve, so good for you. All right. Now let's see if we can play through Michael Row the Boat Ashore again. All right. Notating those differences between the staff. You've got line notes and space notes, so understand where those intervals are happening, okay? I think you can do this. Let's do it. All right, let's see here. Perfect. All right, so we've got that finger 1 on middle C. I've stretched out my fingers. Take a quick note. I know that the first and second intervals are actually thirds because it's line note, line note, line note, and they're all different. So that's what we need to be starting to do, okay? Here we go. I'm going to count off. 1, 2, 3, 4, Ready, go. Beautiful, yes. We've really made a lot of progress on this, I know. Yeah, it's been really, really cool to see that progress for you guys. All right. Good. Now, with that being said, those are our 2 songs, right? It's not necessarily a ton of music this week, but it's enough. It's definitely enough to start challenging you. Beginning next week, we have a very, very big song called Blow the Man Down. So we're going to be doing like pirates, I suppose, right? Blow the Man Down. This includes a lot of elements that we have learned, but sort of stretched, okay? And when I say stretched, I mean that they're taking that concept and they're applying it more than usual in a song. Typically they'll hit it like a couple times in music, in the music that you're learning, but this case, for Blow the Man Down, it's throughout the entire song. So it's going to really rely on pattern finding. It's going to rely on drilling very difficult sections, perhaps hands apart, okay? It's going to take you perhaps beginning the piece more slowly than we have started pieces before. So just be aware of these things as we get the music coming up, okay? All right, I don't think I had any theory for you guys. Let me see. If you didn't do page 86, I highly recommend that you do so because it deals with those 6, okay? All right, wonderful. All right, well, let me see. Quick plug here. I'm on Patreon. I know I say this all the time. Patreon's fun. I love Patreon because it's just an easy way for you to like pay me for the labor that I'm doing here and doing these lessons and these practice sessions every week. I really appreciate all the support that I've been getting from like every corner of the internet. It seems like I'll wake up and I'll have like a random PayPal donation from somewhere. And it's so nice, all the nice notes that you guys are writing and whatnot. But if you really like, you know, supporting this and you're doing my whole session here, and you've been with me, think about it. If you've been with me since March, that's already like 7 months of piano instruction that you've been getting. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? So consider joining Patreon. I have different tiers for different donation levels that work for you and your budget. But just know that the higher tier that you choose, I have tiers between $3 and $50 a month. The more access and the more like special things you get to do with me, right? You get early access to things, you get voting rights on polls and stuff like that. You get to help me choose songs. You get live Q&As. Sometimes I'm even considering creating a new tier with private lessons. So if you're really into that, let me know. That's going to be a limited tier though, all right? Anywho, thank you so much for that support. And this concludes our practice with me for today. So keep it up. Keep your eye on the private group. When you see the assignment post, drop your video so I can check it just to see how you're doing and where you are. Even if it's just a portion of a song, that's okay too, all right? I'm here to help you, all right? I will see you guys very soon. Take care. Bye.